A week since the president who ruled with an iron fist fled this country, is Tunisia's Jasmine revolution entering a new phase? Power driven by the youth and trade unions, are professional politicians hijacking the Tunisian uprising? How do the young people of Tunisia feel about the course their revolution is now taking? This is Inside Story. Hello, I'm James Bays. Today, Inside Story coming to you live from Tunis. They've dubbed it the Jasmine Revolution. It was led by the young people and the trade unions, an uprising which led to the man who's run this country for some 23 years having to flee into exile. How do the young people feel about the situation now, about their new so-called unity government? We'll find out in a moment. But first, let's gauge the mood on the streets. Earlier, I went out into the heart of Tunis.
President Ben Ali may be gone, but in the 7 days since he fled this country, these protests have continued. Not as many people as there were with those massive protests which led to him departing Tunisia, but still quite a vocal amount of people here on the streets who are unhappy with the new government, which they say is just the same people with a new face. Many of those protesters are very angry.
I am to let go the RCD away from us, and it's time for us to start, and it's time for us to get to feel the democracy like you and like the people in America and like the people.
And not the same minister, the same people are there, and we know that they are the hands of Ben Ali.
It is the same regime. We don't care about the names, but we care about the regime. We don't care about the names. We don't care about Ben Ali or Ghanouchi or this or this. We care about the regime.
There is no true change. They are dominating the political life in Tunisia. They don't go out. They are governing us by terror. Listen, look at them. Look at them. They are hitting. We are simple people. We are peaceful. We don't use anything. I am going out from my work. They are students. They are workers. We don't do anything. We are peacefully protesting. Please, please, leave us. Please, we want to live free. Leave us, please. This is a new colonization. Please, leave us. We want our work. We want our country free.
The words of some of the protesters that I've spoken to during this week. What is interesting is that things have changed on the ground during the week. Just look over there and you can see some protesters right up there at the fence of the headquarters of the RCD, the former ruling party. Just days ago, they wouldn't be allowed to do that. Earlier in the week, we saw the police come in with pretty heavy-handed tactics. They were using tear gas, they were beating protesters. Now, though, they're standing to one side, showing some restraint. It's clear the interim government, the so-called unity government, want to try and persuade people with their actions that this is a new Tunisia. I have to say, not many people you speak to here are convinced.
Well, this was a revolution that was led by the young people. Tunisia has a population where half of it is under the age of 25. And that's why we're joined today by young people. Let's meet our guests. First, we have Fida Al-Hamami, who is a graduate student.
Yes.
Also a student, Haifa Jamour, who's also training to be a tour guide.
Hello.
And also we have our last guest, Doha Bukri, again a graduate student who describes herself as a civil society activist. Let me start with you, Fida. Let's start right back at the beginning. The media here in this country was controlled. They weren't talking about the protests. When did you first hear about the protests and what motivated you to join them?
The first time I heard about the protest was the day that Mohamed Bouazizi set fire on himself and committed suicide, and that was on Facebook. And then, because my father is also an activist and a politician, he heard about it, and activists from Sidi Bouzid, the town of Mohamed Bouazizi in the center of Tunisia, called people here and told them about what happened. And the most important thing wasn't only the suicide itself, but the reasons for it and how people protested after that. Because Mohamed Bouazizi committed suicide Not because of unemployment and not because of hunger, but because of dignity, because he couldn't stand humiliation and he couldn't live like that any longer. And because the government, the people there, the people of the government there humiliated him every day while he was only trying to sell his fruits and vegetables on the streets.
Haifa, these protests started.
Yeah.
Weren't you a little bit concerned about going on the streets and what might happen?
The thing that motivated me was the day when the police started to kill people because their protests. And at this time, I said to my parents and to my friends, it's our revolution. It's time to protest, and it is time to finish with this government.
Did you not, though, Doha, feel for your lives, though, when you're out there? Fear that you might be killed too?
No, I don't think that fear was among one of the feelings that overwhelmed me in that moment. There was enthusiasm, there was involvement, which nurtured me rather than fear.
Fida, all this talk about a new media revolution, is that how you see it? Was it Twitter and was it blogs and Facebook that drove this, or was it genuine anger?
It was both, but I think that genuine anger is the real fuel of this revolution, because it's all started in the center. It started in the towns in the center. It didn't start in the capital. And wasn't it for Facebook and for the media and the internet, a lot of people wouldn't have heard of what is happening. That is the problem in Tunisia. That is the problem, because the state media, the state newspapers are only propaganda. So we don't hear about what is happening. But with these social networks, we do now. We see it. We have the videos. We have people witnessing. We have people writing about it. So everyone knows now. And no one has an excuse to turn a blind eye on that.
Now, Haifa, the other thing that you had this time was something else connected to the internet. You had those WikiLeaks. Everyone talked about the WikiLeaks. There was something on almost every country in the world, but there was a lot too in there about Tunisia.
Yeah, of course, what we can read in WikiLeaks, every Tunisian knows about it. But this time we have proofs, and this is maybe what motivated people to talk about what's happened in Tunisia, about corruption, about the president family, about the state, the state of police, and so I think WikiLeaks helped us a lot.
Doha, tell us a little bit about the state of Tunisia at the beginning of this revolution. You lived through it. In fact, all of you haven't known any other president other than President Ben Ali, apart from the last 7 days. Tell us what it's been like living in Tunisia.
Well, it was a state of repression, of no freedom of expression, no freedom of information, and censorship over information, over internet, over press and media in general. And I think that every conscious citizen, every real nationalist interiorized that feeling of repression and that hunger for expression. But we waited for something to trigger this revolution, and it happened a couple of years ago in the south, namely in the city of Gafsa, and a lot of other events, but they were all repressed and they were all contained by police forces, and we mainly didn't hear about them. But this time, Facebook and our interconnection and our contribution to spread the information made this revolution happen this time. They couldn't stop us anymore.
Fida, when did you first think you might succeed, that President Ben Ali might be gone?
I have always had hope in that, but I haven't believed it when we were shouting Ben Ali out that day, January 14th. I didn't believe it. I was saying it, I was shouting it, but we were talking among ourselves. We were like, yeah, that's gonna happen today.
And it did.
It did.
What was your reaction? You couldn't have expected that.
Till now, I can't realize it because maybe waiting for that 23 years had killed in ourselves this hope. We did not expect that happened today in 2011. So maybe tomorrow I will realize it.
Doha, your feelings then?
Yeah, we really thought that when I was in the streets demonstrating with people on the 14th of January, I said to myself, this is going to be carried on for like 4 or 5 more days. And then when the state of emergency was set on the country, I said to myself, there are going to be a lot more victims, many more people who will die. And this is going to take months, maybe years, and it's not going to be that easy to get rid of him.
Fida, it must have been quite a worrying time, those hours after he left. You didn't know which way things were going to go.
Yes, but for me it was awful because we couldn't go home after the demonstration because we were trapped downtown in an apartment of people that we don't know because we hid there from the gas. And then police were still after people. We thought that police is going only to empty the streets, to disperse people, that's all. But it wasn't only that. They kept beating people up, they kept triggering people and bringing them to the Ministry of the Interior, and they kept doing awful things to people. And we were hearing that because we were in the center, downtown, and we couldn't go out. And we were there waiting for it to calm down and then go home. I was with my sister and my mother who were with me in the demonstration and a lot of other people. But it didn't, and then there was the curfew. It was the first day that the curfew was set at 5 p.m. So we were trapped there and we couldn't go out. So we couldn't even feel the happiness, we couldn't even feel the joy because we heard the news of him leaving when we were scared to death from the police because they were still looking after people, and we were hearing them dragging people from the buildings next to us and beating them up.
Aifa, do you believe there are still people out there who are on his side who will still use acts of violence to try and remove the situation we have now, the new so-called unity government?
Well, I think that the most urgent necessity now is to think of the stability of our country. I think it's more important to favor the general interest, the general benefit of our country over the particular interests of certain political parties. So I think it's more urgent now to ask people, to ask workers and students to go back to normal life, a better one, of course, to forge ahead.
So stop the protests now. Enough.
Yes, that's what I think. Especially that those protests are led by people who are seeking political glory, and they are looking for their own political interests.
Go on, Fida. Go on.
I really don't agree about that. I think that the peoples that are in the unity government now are seeking political glory, and not the people that are shouting real
that
freedom.
are protesting.
Yeah, but whatever the goals, the real ends of those people, we need their expertise. It's no time to make political experiments now. We cannot take this risk.
But Doha, let's just look at the new unity government you've got. You've got the same Prime Minister who was there under President Ben Ali. You've got the same Foreign Minister, the same Interior Minister, the same Defence Minister, the same Finance Minister. So, it doesn't start looking very much like a new start for Tunisia.
Yes, well, I do trust the Prime Minister. I think he's an honest man.
You do? Seriously?
Yes. I think he...
I
nothing...
Can't trust him.
He's the
Go
good
on, Haifa,
thing.
why don't you trust him?
I can trust him because 2 days before he said, I talked with the ex-president and tell him about the situation in Tunisia. So
he is still in contact.
He is still in contact with the president.
The
ex-president. Excuse me.
Your view on that?
Yes, I can trust the Ghanouchi. One of the reasons is that Ben Ali didn't appoint people that didn't prove allegiance to him. That is proof enough for me. If Ben Ali appointed him for so long, because he's been in the government for so long as Ben Ali, I think, we can trust him. That's an enough reason for me.
Yeah.
All the people that Ben Ali appointed were his people.
Yeah, okay.
And they were.
Go on, Doha, how do you respond to the other two? They're ganging up on you.
It's true he's been in the government for so long, but he's not been appointed out of because he was loyal to the president, but because he's a very flexible and lenient man, and he let himself get influenced by the president. And I think that the same way he was influenced by the president and by the RCD, we can put pressure on him and influence him now. Sorry.
We don't need
I think he's a very flexible.
We don't need people that are easily influenced in our government.
Yeah, but I think he's an honest man who was manipulated by the government, who did not say no, who did not stand and say no. He was just obedient to the regime of Ben Ali. I want to remind you that he was not even a member of the RCD before Ben Ali appointed him as vice president of the Ben Ali. He did not even adhere to the party of the RCD.
We don't know.
But he did. And he wanted that. When he wanted the ministry, he did it.
Can I raise another issue, which is, in these last 7 days, and as we've mentioned before, you've only known life in Tunisia for 23 years with one man and 7 days of new Tunisia. The role of the police in those last 7 days, Fida?
That's not that clear, because it depends. The first days of the demonstrations, because people were out on the streets, even before they announced the people that will be on it, people were so angry that they said, we're not going to wait, we want the RCD out. And those first days that people demonstrated, they were dispersed violently. There was tear gas, there was beating, and there was a lot of awful things done to those people on the first days. It stopped yesterday, apparently, but we can never trust them. We can never trust them, since the Minister of the Interior is the same one that killed people and that was violent with people on the 13th and 14th.
Haifa, aren't the police demonstrating it's a new Tunisia by standing to one side in the last 24 hours or so and not beating people, not using tear gas?
So I think that in these persons where they're just their work is beating people. No one tell them stop beating people, because they did this for 23 years. So today it is a little hard to them to stop it. So they cannot realize that the ex-president is not here, and it will take time to them to realize this and to stop the oppression on people.
I think that violence became a reflex to Tunisian policemen. They don't know how to do. They only know that when you go to our police stations, even for a paper, you're afraid. Because they're always violent with people, even when they don't have reason. That's a reflex. That's the only way they know how to do their job.
Let me just widen the discussion for a moment beyond Tunisia and ask you your impressions of recent years, of the role of the other Western powers, Doha, the EU, the United States. What does an ordinary Tunisian think about the fact that they were very happy to meet President Ben Ali and not say very much?
I think the position of the European Union, for instance, was very negative towards the policy of repression that Ben Ali exerts over us. And they, even though they did not clearly support him, but they never stopped him. And I've seen on the French television recently that Nicolas Sarkozy has pardon.
He said something, yeah?
Yeah, he has admitted that he received an order that Ben Ali passed an order of tear gas, of those bullets, and of the suit that the policemen wear to protect them from the bullets, and that he has passed this order, a huge order to...
So what does that make you guys think about those countries that were supplying this stuff, the tear gas? I've had it in my eyes in the last few days, and it's been used against you.
I think that we didn't need them for our revolution, and we won't need them now to build our country, our free country.
It's your revolution, but
yes.
some are calling this the Arab world's Berlin Wall moment. Do you think this will spread, Haifa, to other countries?
I think it could be the case, because all the Arab world is under a dictatorship chief. So I hope that all Arab people will do the same thing that we did.
But not commit suicide. Please. It's an occasion for me to say this.
Not commit suicide, but just speak in the name of liberty.
Yes.
Doha, do you see other Bin Alis out there?
I hope so, yes. I think that the countries of North Africa and the Middle East have many things in common, and mainly the dictatorship and repression of their rulers. So I do believe that they were waiting for something to ignite their flame, and that this hopefully will lead to other uprisings and to other presidents fleeing.
Well, I'd like to end our discussion by just asking you to look into the future and see how optimistic you are, because you've had 23 years of stability and now 7 days of real uncertainty. Are you confident about the future, Fida?
I am, because I am confident in the Tunisian people. I am, seriously, and I am very optimistic.
Haifa?
I'm confident because I trust I trust the young people in Tunisia, because they are expecting much more from what has happened now, and we are working now hard to get what we expected to have till maybe 10 years, not to tell 23 years, because we were still young, so we didn't have an idea about what could happen after Ben Ali's fleeing and something.
Doha, how do you see the future of your country?
Yeah, I am very optimistic about the future, and I think that the Tunisian youth have proved their awareness and then their ability to voice their opinions. So if this people was able to stand for its right once, I think they should be able to stand for their rights again if ever anyone is going to steal our revolution, now a victory.
Yeah, well, seems you are all reasonably optimistic about the future. Let's hope, for your sake and for the people of Tunisia, that it plays out the way that you say. Thank you very much to all of our guests who are joining us today. Fida Al-Hamami, Haifa Jamour and Doha Bukri joining us here on Al Jazeera. Today, coming live from Tunis. What do you think about this subject? What do you think about this country? And what other subjects should we discuss here on Inside Story? Should we take the programme on the road somewhere else? Give us your ideas. Send your email, please, to insidestory@aljazeera.net. From all the team here in Tunis, bye for now.